Not much happened this week, but we saw the Juggernaut come crashing down with a busted eye, much resembling his former victim, Daniel Dubois, as Zhilei Zhang or Zhang Zhilei, Double Z, just kept popping him with that left hand, and Joyce kept coming forward. Probably was picking off the rounds, but the doctor deemed him unfit to continue in the sixth, dashing the hopes of many of us. And with us today, Steve Welling, Zandy Patterson. Steve, Joyce's chin was tested. It kind of got buzzed in the second, but I kind of feel like an ass at this point in time because this whole time we're sitting there like, oh, he's got this great chin and great engine, comes forward. It's like, oh yeah, you can fucking like swell up people's eyes and shit like that. Oops, stupid me. And Bradley, God love him on the call. He thought it could very well happen because Joe doesn't get his head off the line. Stupid fucking us, right?
Yeah, I suppose that's one way of looking at it. Iron chin, glass eye, really. If you can't get into the chin and buzz in that way, get into the eye. But I don't know. I feel a bit sad, actually, to be honest with you, Matty. I've grown kind of fond of Joyce over the time. He's simpleton persona. He's turned out to be a bit of a good guy, really. Early on, we saw him motoring through people, taking repeated right hands against people like Stavern and other lesser operators. And he didn't mess about against lower guys as well. He got rid of them too. And he's gone up the levels, as Ozzy would say. And we wondered how long he could go on with his face first strategy. I know, friend of the pod, Des, he's a good technical analyst, and he was concerned for a long time about Joyce's ability to soak up the pressure, and they kind of all bought into it, maybe himself included. Dev and BT and that, all the memes are about this immovable object and that, and nobody's going to get rid of him. And to be honest, I thought that he showed a little bit of technical nuance in that Dubois fight that you mentioned. He showed his amateur credentials, he jabbed, he moved, he had a good left stick. And that said to me that when he moved up in levels, he would be able to adapt. He wouldn't just stand there taking shots and motoring forward like this monster, like this machine. But last night, he stepped up in levels, and that's exactly what he did. He just looked like he'd never faced a southpaw before. And he fought Usyk in the WSB, which was only over 5 rounds, granted, but he would have fought lefties as well before in the amateurs. But he just looked like he was just taking shots, especially with the left hand. And before in the dressing room, actually, the way you pick up on little things. I saw Double Z, as you were calling him, with his trainer, Sean George, who you might remember beat Chris Bird, an emaciated version of Chris Bird in his final fight. He was there on the pads, and he looked quite tight and compact, but also very relaxed at the same time. And I just thought if he can get on the inside there and let the shots go, and he might have a chance here. And in the ring, he was blocking a lot on the arms and gloves. I don't know what that judge was seeing, who had Joyce ahead. I don't think he was ahead at all. I think all the hard shots were coming from Zhang, and a lot of Joyce's efforts were huff and puff things, really. Zhang was landing the counter shots. He's a big guy. He can clearly punch a bit. I've always rated him. I know people say, oh, he's one of these big stiff idiots. He's useless. I don't think he is. I think his problem was
The
always
renal failure was a real issue. That
the
Jerry
renal
Morehouse,
failure.
that
Yeah.
it was one off, and he was fucked up, and he still was able to go to the distance with a competent and seasoned, and I don't know if seasoned is the right word, but fairly experienced guy in force.
No, I was just going to say that the renal failure. At the end of the day, he's nearly 40. I mean, flip me, I'm over 40 myself. He's not getting any younger. The big fella. He's had a good amateur career, but he would be starting to feel the pace, and he felt the pace late on against Hrgovic as well, which was a disgraceful decision. Everyone, as far as I know, thought that he won the fight. I don't see any case for Hrgovic winning that fight, apart from Kali Soerland thinking that he did. But anyway, I'm digressing here. He's a big guy. He can punch a little bit, and he was just pumping Joyce with the same shot over and over again. He couldn't get out of the way. And it feels like the wheels have fallen off the train now. I know that we were saying afterwards, Carl Frampton as well was saying, oh, we can come back and still win a world title, but I'm not so sure. It kind of feels like he's been found out now. He's the kind of guy, Joyce, who needs him. If he hasn't got a title or he's not pushing mandatory positions, no one's going to fight him. And the fact he's lost now will give everyone else a kind of out clause that, oh, I'm not going to fight him unless he gets back in line again and gets himself a shot. But I think I'll just conclude, Matty, by saying we always wondered, well, I wondered anyway, what would happen if Joyce, the immovable object, faced against Wilder, the detonation machine. And I think we got that answer last night. It would have been instant death.
It might have ended up looking like Vitaly against Lennox.
Possibly.
Yeah. Andy, I was just kind of shocked by this one. Like, I really like Joyce. I like the idea of just, that big kind of tank heavyweight. But just showing that just, sometimes if you're not able to keep that kind of high winky right guard, or if you don't get your head off the line, you're going to get eaten up by somebody that knows how to position their shots. And God love Joyce, man. He couldn't get out of the way of that left hand, and that eye. That's probably the worst eye damage we've seen since he did that to Dubois. Wouldn't you think?
Yeah, it was pretty bad, the eye, actually. I was kind of half joking. Obviously, you wouldn't get away with it these days by blading that swelling, just trying to get him, get him to see through it. But then, that said, you just don't know if there's been any damage underneath the skin, like, to the face, the orbital bone, that type of thing. Yeah, I agree with you. It was a definite shock. Zhang was pretty much non-flustered that entire fight. Total dominant, I felt. The left hand, as you mentioned, Joyce never took his head off centre line. Carl Frampton kind of called it right afterwards when he said that he may not have had the proper adequate southpaw sparring for this fight. He says, but it looked like he never even fought a southpaw before the way he kind of fought there. The only time Joyce moved his head was when Zhang moved it for him with that left hand, and he landed it every time he threw it. By about, well, obviously the second round was a turning point, because obviously Joyce, I think, either a broken nose or was badly bleeding anyway. At least, so you don't know if he's maybe swollen blood at that point. When he started to he kind of came out the traps a little bit round three, but I just don't think he had the zing and the punches. Nothing seemed to kind of phase Zhang when he was landing them, and then obviously
I don't
they've
know
got the
about
box.
that. I think of the
I think
fifth
not.
round. I think the fifth
Or
round or
maybe
the fifth round or the fourth round, he caught him a few good times. Really slowed him down a bit. I was Andy. I was disappointed that the eye was so bad, because I thought that fight was going to get even better going down the stretch. Like, I thought there was a few more dramatic moments to be had, if it wasn't just an issue of the doctor having to step in. Honestly, because I thought Joyce did really well in the fifth, and limited Zhang quite a bit.
Well, I would agree with it, but at the same time, I just don't think, even when being hurt in the manner of what he did, obviously the facial damage after the second round was pretty telling at that point. I just don't think that Joyce was really making any dents in him. I know you can maybe say that maybe Zhang was maybe losing a bit of steam. I've seen some people saying in the chat that his mouth was open, on about the fourth or the fifth. But that said, he didn't seem to be taking anything. He wasn't taking any punishment. Says non-flustered every time he landed. That it was telling you, actually. Even the crowd was pretty telling when he's peppering Joyce with those left hands, and he's seen get rocked in the manner what he did, standing there, hands straight up, nothing else coming back. Okay, he presses forward, but this wasn't the Joyce of what we've seen, pressing continuously. His shots, basically just pumping the punches out, just keeping it going, landing shots, and eventually breaking the heart of Zhang. He just couldn't do it with him. Could not do it. You don't want to say that, look, he can't come again and he can't get another opportunity in that, but that's the type of, especially at his age, what, 38 is he now at this point? He's an old heavyweight, and after taking the beating of what he did there last night, you may be calling into question, is that the best of him now? Is that the premium being beaten out of him? You
I
don't know.
I wouldn't want to go that far, because it wasn't a long fight, right? I guess it matters like if it's more superficial or if it's serious damage. But Chris Butler's saying, and kind of to your
Yeah, I
point,
agree with him.
yeah, Joyce didn't look like he had much power. He came in quite a few pounds lighter than his previous fight, and I think that was a mistake. I think, kind of like how Tyson Fury seems to have the same engine, 15, 20 pounds either direction. And we can get into that in 10 different ways. I think that Joyce is probably better with a few pounds on him, much the way that Wilder was, or Fury was able to lean on Wilder and stuff. And I think by shedding pounds, Andy, I think that he gave away one of his big advantages personally.
Well, I'm just trying to pull up the weights and that from the Joe Parker fight. So it was 271. So he's just under what, 15 stone lighter pot. Sorry, 15 stone, 15 pound lighter
Yeah, a full
from his
stone
last
though.
fight.
Yeah, better
Yeah.
than a full stone.
Well, they were talking, pre-fight that, yeah, Joyce was going to be boxing. He was going to be moving the ring and that. I mean, obviously they were going to respect this guy. Obviously he's got heavy hands. But you got
And,
to you got to hand it to Zhang, that man. I mean,
but
it's not so much him getting catapulted himself into the heavyweight picture. He's trebucheted himself into the fucking heavyweight picture by doing what he did there last night. You can see that Joyce has got the rematch clause all he wants, but is he going to want to have another fight like that again? Taking that, he needs to learn for that, because he can't go into a fight with Zhang like that again. All he's got to do is land that left hand. Swell him up and stops him. That's all he's going to do.
You might be right. And I'm going to ask Steve this, but I'd also like the opinion of the people in the chat on this. Steve, if you're training Joe Joyce for a rematch against Zhang, are you having him come in heavier?
Probably. I didn't pick up on that beforehand. I know he looked a little bit leaner and he looked in good shape, but then a few people thought that about Benavidez against Plant, didn't they? Whether it would have a detrimental effect. You don't really know beforehand. And I suppose we still don't know afterwards. But yeah, you like him to have that pressure, that power, that physical strength, that little belly to just push people back. But it could have been a factor. But I just think Zhang's heavy hands, his ability to throw the fast left hand, and fights slip away fast, don't they? You know, you're at home, all of a sudden you've been hitting the eye, you can feel it closing, rounds are zipping by, he's gaining in confidence, you're starting to get a bit more desperate. You know, there's a lot of different factors and variables going on in that ring, and I think that as his eyes started closing, he started to panic a little bit more. His nose was busted up as well from very early on. He got hurt in the second round. A lot of things going through his head. The weight could have been one of them, but I'm not so sure.
It was a rough fight. It was a rough fight, yeah.
Yeah, I think there was a lot of different things. Sorry, Andy, go ahead.
No, sorry, I was just going to say, when you're getting called to the doctor twice, that you think to yourself, right, okay, listen, I need to hang my balls out here, I need to go for it, I need to just land something heavy, I've got to hang it all out in the line. He didn't really have it, did he? He didn't have the tank. I think he got beaten out of him.
I don't know about that. I think it was the idea that when he got that left hand was landing so much that if he went and threw more, the left hand was going to hit him more. The fight was going to get stopped. He was kind of fucked.
But his power, though, as I said in the chat, he's an on-top guy, isn't he? We haven't seen him have to come from behind and like really land a massive shot to blast somebody out. He's usually on top of people. He ground down Parker to such a point that his hands were down and he was tired when he caught him with that cracking left hand. The other numpties are crap as it is. You know, the likes of Joe Hanks and Calvin Palmer and all them ones. He's bound to knock them out. But the other kind of guys, he's always been on top. Like Takam, he was on top for rounds, wasn't he? Busting him down, weakening him. And then eventually the power just told, the relentless pressure and aggression told. We haven't seen him before have to come back and ice somebody. So we didn't know if he was capable of doing it or not.
Well, I just, I am curious because I would like to see, I would like to see the rematch. Because I think it could definitely go differently. Especially in heavyweight boxing, it's its own animal.
How does it go differently, though, Matt? He's got to defend that left hand, mate. He had no answer to it right from the very first minute of that fucking fight. He had no defense.
You're right. You're right. I think, Andy, at this point in time, that Joyce and his team are aware that if they take the rematch, they're going to have to try to avoid his left hand. I think that's probably on the front of their mind at this point in time.
Well, did you not mention the potential about a tune-up fight before going into the rematch? I know what I think Warren said last, or George Warren mentioned about a 2-fight option on Zhang now, so the rematch would make sense, and in terms of Joyce at least. You're going to have to get him in with a southpaw in his next fight. And it's going to have to be one as well that he's not going to be like looking bad against, and he's going to have to kind of get rounds against them. From what we've seen him, at least, we've always known that he defends with his face. But that said, what is he going to do differently against Zhang, who's just going to lob that left hand in like a grenade all night long? And that's what's just going to happen. He's going to keep landing that left hand unless he can move.
This is what he has to do. He has to put that weight back on, and he has to be fighting at a tighter distance. That hand's not going to land as much when he's a foot away as it was when he was 2 feet away. Yeah, that's what he has to do. And again, I think there's parallels to the Wilder and in Fury matches, and Wilder putting on the weight. He was like, look at the way this fat ass is looking, and he just went in there and big manned him. I don't, obviously Zhang is a bigger man than Deontay Wilder, but I think that there's some similarities in that. And if I'm Joe Joyce, that's what I'm doing. I'm going to try to go back in there at 270 or a little better, and I am just going to try to stay on his chest all night long. So
I wonder why they took it. I wonder what the thinking was like, because I know it's hindsight. I praised them at the time. I thought it was a really good fight. They must have just thought that Zhang would tire down the stretch and Joe would just kind of be able to eat everything up and walk him down, and he's old and blah, blah, blah. That must have been the thinking.
That was my thinking, at least, mate. I mean, I didn't think Zhang. I think pretty much all of us picked Joyce to win last week, unless I'm
I
wrong.
did, yeah.
I think I went with the late stoppage. I'm the same as you. I thought he would have tired late, and Joyce would have got to him. A superior stamina would have came into equation. White, who was there, pre-fight, was all vocal about wanting Joyce, and then he's disappeared after the fight's ended. Maybe not wanting any of that Zhang's. But just to go back to what Matty was saying there, you can see that Zhang is an actually bigger heavyweight. I mean, just looking at his weights here, he's been pretty much roughly the kind of same weight throughout his pro career, 270 odd pounds, 280 pounds. He's a big dude, almost 20 stone. That's the bigger guy. I just think Joyce, apart from like slipping the jab, maybe throwing the right hand down the middle and that. And I mentioned to you guys last night, but his lack of body work by Joyce as well was quite telling. There was no jabs to the stomach, there was no left hooks to the body. Certainly when he tried to throw the left hook, it looked very slow. I just think the fight was lost early doors. I think for the first 2 rounds, I think that fight was lost actually, especially after he got hurt.
Well, the odds were wide, Andy. I mean, I'll tell you, like everyone's like, how can we not see this coming? Everybody in the Nutters Prediction League, despite the chance to get double points if they went on Zhang, still went with Joe Joyce to win the fight. Interestingly enough, though, the Honorable Mr. Joe Kennedy, I'm sure he doesn't mind me saying this, placed 2 bets on the fight, though. Just a couple of $5 bets he decided to wing. One was on Zhang to win in rounds 1 through 6 at 25-1. The other one was Zhang just to win by KO, TKO, DQ at 12-1. So he put $10 of bets in and walked away with just shy of $200. So fair play to Mr. Joe Kennedy, because even though he didn't take it in the prediction league, he aligned his pockets with this Zhang victory.
Joe put out a little nibble, didn't he, by saying you got double points for Zhang. He knew what he was doing. But I think the real winner of the night, Matty, was Holly. The lone female member of the Nutters group who went down to the fight and bumped into the Gad and got a selfie as well. So Holly was on form last night, so fair play to her.
Yeah. She met the Gad and she made it home safely. So clearly we've been too hard on the Gad.
I haven't heard from her since.
I was going to say, we've not heard anything.
Huh?
Zero dark 30.
No, she hasn't tweeted. She hasn't messaged today. I don't think.
She's maybe in the shower.
That's a fair point. Well, better the shower than in the pit, Andy. I mean, you got to kind of weigh the options there.
Yeah, again. I suppose. There we go.
Good God. Oh, well, I changed my my statement to we all pray for Holly's safe return.
See, in terms of upset, I mean, that's obviously, to me, that's going to be upset of the year, because I think the only fight I can think of so far would be Oshaki Foster against Ray Vargas as my upset of the year.
If you're talking odds, there's 3 fights that I think are kind of in the ballpark on it right now. One was when the Atoma brother lost earlier this year. One was the other one would have been Fundora against Mendoza. Those odds were massively wide. And then this, I think all 3 of those are worthy.
This is like a man. This is practically like sitting on a mandatory.
So was Fundora.
Fundora had the title, did he not?
He was interim.
Well, there you go. So it's not really a world title then.
Yeah, but he was on the door. He was one of the guys waiting on the Charlo fucking.
Joyce was interim as well, wasn't he? Didn't he?
Yeah, you're right. Fight? It's exactly. All of it's very similar. Like I said, the Atoma was just a weird thing where he was a young guy, and I think that should be thrown out. But I think either Fundora or Joyce losing definitely up there for upset of the year.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Did anyone put any answers in? What the fuck was the question that I asked? Oh, if they'd have, I was way back there. Anyways, yeah, that was crazy. We'll see if they come up with a rematch. I would like to see it personally. It was very shocking. I didn't, what was sad is I knew like there was not much going on, and yet I sat down on the couch to watch it, and I still managed to doze off somewhere about 1:30, I think, in the afternoon over here. So I didn't see a whole lot of what's going on. I missed Michaela Mayer, and I went to try to find it again on ESPN Plus. Steven, it's not there. They kept Michaela from me. Would you please let me know what happened on the rest of this card? I think I saw Sam Noakes beating the crap out of an Indian, which I think is not part of the agreement set in like, what was that, 48 or 49? Not cool. Not cool.
No, not cool at all. Flip me, you managed to miss Michaela Mayer, and I had to sit through the whole 10 rounds. Life's not fair here, Matty. You would have enjoyed it far more than me. Yeah, Michaela's come over. She's done a job. She was a lot better than this Lucy Wildheart, who came in as a late replacement. Fair play to her. I think she was unbeaten. Was she unbeaten, or she maybe lost one?
I think a
I'm just
one
looking at-
losser. I think she was
yeah.
10-1.
Oh, she fought the IBO title or something. Oh, she fought Yoka's sister or wife or both. I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not up on women's boxing, as you know. But anyway, Michaela Mayer's neat and tidy, but it's pretty pointless, that fight for me. I wasn't that fussed on it. Sam Noakes got a second round knockout win over Karthik Satish Kumar. He wasn't as much fun as that fellow who fought Zapata the other week, unfortunately.
It ended quickly, Steve. I think that's better.
It ended too quickly. The supervisor for that fight was Debbie Down, so a bit of a Debbie Downer on that fight for you, Matty, against Sam Noakes. I used to know a fella, Tom, you called him. He run a nutrition brand, and he was big on Sam Noakes. He used to tell me that he had a really good future. I don't know whether he was local to him or what, but he always used to say, "Oh, Sam Noakes, yeah, he's doing great. He's going to be a really good fighter." So I've kind of bared him in mind since then, and he's 10-0, 11-0 now. Got the Commonwealth title as well. So good luck to him. Denzel Bentley. Now, I nearly took an L on the prediction league with Denzel Bentley. I was looking at Kieran Smith. I know he'd fought against Troy Williamson, and he'd gone 6 rounds, then got knocked out. He was a pretty decent fighter. I thought, oh, you know what? He might be able to fiddle his way to the final bell here. And I had it down as a points win for Bentley. And then I thought, nah, Denzel's a big puncher. He's knocked about 14, 15 people out. So I'll go for the knockout, maybe a late knockout. And there he was. He absolutely iced him in the first round with a stunning left hand. Right on the top of the head and got rid of him. Also, I saw Moses Itoma against Konstantin Dovibishenko. A little tough fat guy, Dovibishenko. Did his job, took Itoma a few rounds. He's definitely learning the trade nicely. Undercard wasn't the best, to be honest with you, but it was all about the main event. But I did suffer through most of it. Good early knockouts for Noakes and Bentley. A bit of a 10-round boxing lesson from Mayer, Itoma getting the win as well, and then Joe Joyce in the main event.
Yeah, and I do think for all 6 rounds of that was a pretty decent and entertaining fight. It was a good fight all in all. Main event did not disappoint, except for the fact that everybody wanted Joyce to win and he didn't, and that was sad. But anyways, the Honorable Ben Farouki saying it was 1947, but we'll let you off. The fact that it's not my country's history and I was within a year, I'm very, very proud of myself on that one. I'm taking that one as a W, and I think they should have counted that if it was in a classroom. Andy, what was your highlight of the card other than the Joyce fight? Anything in particular that you were keen on?
Not much, mate. Obviously the Noakes Bentley fight that I watched. Steve said it all. I can't add much more. Didn't really watch more, to be fair. Actually, I can't remember what I was doing at the time. I seen the bits of Tama and that as well, but it looked like the guy was just there purely to survive, which is fair enough. It was kind of an odd one actually to have a kid who's like on the potentially like a KO streak just to kind of have him then go 6 rounds. But that's what you want actually. You want to see him kind of like try and figure those things out. So yeah, it was pretty poor. I felt actually the entire card, obviously because there was a lot of filler. Obviously, a few of the fights went very, very short, and that, so obviously didn't really have much else to kind of fill the card, and that, so it was average, shall we say, but there's not really much else I can report on it, mate.
I'll just say, Matty, quickly, just going back to Joyce's interview at the end. As I say, I do like Joyce. He's not a natural in front of the camera, and he'll be the first to admit that. But I liked the way he referenced the irony of his eye going, and maybe it was payback for me doing that to Daniel Dubois. So I thought that was a nice little line from Joyce, a bit of self-deprecation there.
I appreciate everyone who kind of understands how the universe works. So payback is a bitch. Said I was nasty, poor, but damn it, I was high on Joyce, and that came crashing down.